Her birthday. Millionaire husband came with her best friend's baby and divorce. Her epic reply made everyone. Monica's fingers tightened around her champagne flute. Something cold and sharp was building in her chest. A recognition her mind refused to accept. What would you do if your spouse publicly humiliated you on your birthday? Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. Enjoy the story. The baby carrier hit the marble table with a sound that silenced 50 guests. Champagne glasses froze mid-toast as Daniel announced the child was his, and a mother was sitting 3 tables away. Have you ever felt the ground disappear beneath your feet? Have you ever been publicly humiliated by someone you trusted completely? Do you know someone whose world shattered in front of an audience? If you've ever wondered how betrayal can destroy everything in a single moment, this story will leave you breathless. Monica's 35th birthday was supposed to be perfect. The rooftop restaurant overlooked Atlanta's glittering skyline, crystal chandeliers casting warm light across faces she'd known for years. Family members laughed over expensive wine. Business associates mingled with childhood friends, and her husband Daniel moved through the crowd like he owned the world, which, considering his real estate empire, wasn't far from the truth. She'd woken up that morning to his hands in her hair, his voice rough with sleep whispering, "Happy birthday, beautiful," against her neck. They'd made love slowly, deliberately, his touch reverent as he traced every curve of her body like he was memorizing it. She'd arched beneath him, gasping his name, completely unaware he was saying goodbye. The evening started exactly as planned. Monica wore the emerald dress Daniel had chosen, the one that made her dark skin glow under restaurant lighting. Guests arrived bearing gifts and congratulations, toasting to another year of their fairy tale marriage. The Montgomery girl who'd worked 2 jobs to support a struggling real estate agent had become the queen of Atlanta society. But fairy tales don't prepare you for monsters wearing familiar faces. Daniel excused himself during the appetizer course, claiming an important business call. Monica smiled and played hostess, making sure everyone felt welcome, ensuring conversations flowed as smoothly as the champagne. Her best friend Kayla sat 3 tables away, stunning in red silk, occasionally catching Monica's eye to share a knowing smile. 20 minutes later, Daniel returned carrying something that made Monica's blood freeze. The baby carrier was expensive, Italian leather with gold hardware that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. But it wasn't the luxury that stopped conversations. It was the tiny hand visible through the mesh window, the soft cooing sounds that cut through jazz music like a blade. Daniel placed the carrier on the table between Monica's untouched salmon and the birthday cake nobody would eat. The room held its breath as he straightened his tie, that confident smile spreading across his face like oil on water. "Before we continue celebrating," he announced, his voice carrying across the stunned silence, "I have an announcement to make." Monica's fingers tightened around her champagne flute. Something cold and sharp was building in her chest. A recognition her mind refused to accept. "This beautiful child is mine," Daniel continued, his hand resting possessively on the carrier. "Born 6 weeks ago to someone very special." The glass slipped from Monica's hand, shattering against her plate in a sound that made several guests flinch. Wine spread across white linen like blood. "The mother," Daniel's smile widened as his eyes found Kayla's table, "is someone you all know very well." Kayla's face had gone pale, her red lipstick stark against skin suddenly drained of color. She was shaking her head, mouth moving without sound, but Daniel wasn't finished. "Monica," he turned to his wife, pulling an envelope from his jacket pocket. "These are divorce papers. I suggest you sign them tonight, in front of everyone, so there's no confusion about where we stand." The envelope landed next to the baby carrier with a soft thud that might as well have been thunder. Monica stared at it, her mind struggling to process the destruction of everything she'd believed about her life. But then something shifted in her expression. The shock faded, replaced by something far more dangerous. Monica stood slowly, her smile spreading like ice across her face as she reached into her purse. What would you do if your spouse publicly humiliated you on your birthday? Would you break down or fight back? Tell me in the comments. Before you celebrate, Daniel, her voice cut through the silence like silk over steel. There's something you should know about that DNA test you never saw coming. She didn't scream, didn't throw wine, didn't even raise her voice. Instead, Monica pulled out a manila envelope that made the richest man in the room go pale. The restaurant transformed into a gladiator arena, with Monica as the fighter who'd been hiding her sword. City lights bore witness through floor-to-ceiling windows as power shifted like tectonic plates beneath everyone's feet. Daniel's confident smile flickered. What are you talking about? Monica's laugh was soft, musical, and absolutely terrifying. Oh, honey, you really thought I was just sitting at home playing housewife while you built your little empire of lies. She opened the manila envelope with deliberate precision, each movement calculated to build tension. The guests leaned forward despite themselves, drawn into a drama that was rewriting everything they thought they knew about the perfect couple. You see, Daniel had this habit. Monica addressed the room like she was hosting a dinner party instead of destroying one, of taking business calls during intimate moments. Pillow talk, you might call it. Very revealing pillow talk. The memory hit her like a physical blow. Daniel's hands on her body just that morning. The way he'd whispered endearments while his phone buzzed with messages from Kayla. How many times had he touched her while planning this betrayal? How many kisses had been lies? She pushed the pain down, converting it into fuel for what came next. Kayla, Monica's voice carried across the silent room. Would you like to tell everyone when this affair really started? Or should I share what my private investigator discovered? Kayla's sob broke the silence. Monica, please. 3 years, Monica continued, her voice never losing its conversational tone. 3 years of you coming to my home, eating at my table, cry on my shoulder about your loneliness while you were sleeping with my husband in my guest bedroom. The details spilled out like poison honey. Kayla's overnight stays when Daniel was supposedly traveling. The lingerie Monica had found and assumed was a gift Daniel hadn't given her yet. The pregnancy Kayla had hidden for months while playing the devoted friend. But Monica wasn't done. The beautiful thing about having a husband who underestimates you, she said, pulling photograph from the envelope, is that he never bothers to hide his crimes very well. The first photograph landed on the table face up, Daniel and Kayla kissing in the parking lot of Monica's favorite restaurant. The second showed them entering a hotel together. The third captured Kayla's sonogram appointment with Daniel holding her hand in the waiting room. Daniel's face was losing color with each image, but Monica was just getting started. You want to know what's really interesting? She asked, sliding more papers across the table. I've been documenting your little side business too, darling. The married women you've been seducing, the money you've been stealing from their divorces, the properties you've been hiding in shell companies. The room buzzed with shocked whispers. Atlanta's high society was discovering their golden boy was tarnished all the way through. Daniel lunged for the papers, but Monica was faster. She tooted, pulling them back. These are copies. The originals are somewhere very safe. His voice cracked when he spoke. Monica, you don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly, she interrupted. I understand that you've been running a con for years, using me as the perfect wife cover while you destroyed other families. I understand that Kayla was just another mark in your game. The baby in the carrier began to cry, a thin wail that cut through the adult drama. Kayla moved to comfort the child, but Monica's next words stopped her cold. Have you ever had to choose between showing your cards or keeping your power hidden? When is the right time to reveal what you know? The baby isn't yours, Daniel. The words fell into the silence like stones into still water, creating ripples that reached every corner of the room. Daniel's mouth opened and closed without sound, his confident facade finally cracking completely. That's impossible, he whispered. Monica's smile was sharp enough to cut glass. Is it? Because according to the DNA test I ordered, using hair from your brush and sample from the baby's blanket when Kayla visited last month, there's zero genetic match. The manila envelope yielded one final document, official laboratory results that Daniel had never seen coming. Monica held it up for the room to see. though the details were too small to read from a distance. The official letterhead was clear enough. "So whose baby is it, Kayla?" Monica's voice carried deadly curiosity. "Because my private investigator has some very interesting theories." Kayla's sob turned into a wail that matched the baby's crying. I can't tell you." "Oh, but you can," Monica said, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried to every corner of the restaurant. "You can, and you will, because I'm not the only wife Daniel thought he could destroy." She pulled out her phone, scrolling to a number with deliberate slowness. "Should I call Marcus and tell him his business partner has been sleeping with his wife too? Or would you prefer to explain why your baby has his eyes?" The baby carrier hit the marble table with a sound that silenced 50 guests. Champagne glasses froze mid-toast as Daniel announced the child was his, and the mother was sitting 3 tables away. But the silence that followed Monica's revelation was deeper, more complete, the kind of quiet that comes before explosions. Daniel's phone buzzed against the table. Then again. Then it started ringing continuously as news alerts lit up the screen. His face went from pale to gray as he read headlines about federal investigations and real estate fraud. Monica's smile grew wider as she watched understanding dawn in his eyes. "Did I mention I've been cooperating with the FBI?" The paternity results weren't just about the baby. They exposed a web of lies that reached back 3 years and involved more than just broken marriage vows. The private dining room felt like a pressure cooker, steam rising from untouched plates while Atlanta's glittering skyline watched the destruction of 3 lives through massive windows. Monica had transformed from birthday girl to prosecutor, and the evidence kept coming. "Let me tell you a story about 3 women," Monica said, her voice carrying the authority of someone who'd done her homework. 3 women who thought they were special, who believed they'd found love with a wealthy, successful man who understood their needs. She placed 3 photographs on the table. Professional headshots of beautiful women, each one smiling with the confidence of someone who believed they were beloved. Sarah from Buckhead, divorced last year from her tech executive husband after a passionate affair with a real estate developer, lost half her assets in the settlement, and signed a non-disclosure agreement about the circumstances. Daniel's breathing grew shallow as Monica continued. Jennifer from Marietta, separated from her surgeon husband after falling for a charming businessman who convinced her to invest in his company before disappearing with her money and her marriage. The 3rd photograph made Daniel flinch visibly. And Rebecca from Alpharetta, currently fighting for custody of her children after her banker husband discovered she'd been transferring money to fund her lover's business ventures. The pattern was becoming clear to everyone in the room. Daniel hadn't just cheated on Monica. He'd built an entire system around seducing married women, destroying their marriages, and profiting from the chaos. Each of these women thought they were the only one, Monica said, her voice heavy with disgust. Each of them thought Daniel loved them enough to leave his wife. "But Daniel never had any intention of leaving me. Did you, darling?" She pulled out a thick folder, pages spilling across the table like evidence of a crime scene. Bank records showing deposits from each woman's accounts into your shell companies. Hotel receipts charged to business expenses. Even a calendar where you scheduled your affairs like business meetings. The room buzzed with horrified whispers. Atlanta's elite were discovering that their golden couple's marriage had been the cover for something much darker. Kayla's voice cracked through her tears. "Monica, I didn't know about the others. I swear I didn't know." "Didn't you?" Monica's gaze was laser-focused on her former best friend. "Because my investigation shows you've been helping him for over a year. Finding vulnerable women at your salon, recommending the perfect man to help them through their marital problems." The betrayal cut deeper than adultery. Kayla hadn't just slept with Monica's husband. She'd been recruiting his victims. "I needed the money," Kayla whispered. "After my divorce, I was drowning in debt. Daniel said he'd help me, that it was just introductions, that these women wanted affairs anyway. So you decided to destroy marriages for commission?" Monica's voice could have frozen the wine. "Including mine?" The memory hit Monica like a physical blow. finding Kayla's lingerie in her guest bedroom drawer. The sick realization of how long the affair had been happening under her own roof. Not just stolen moments in hotels, but in her home, in her bed, while she worked late or visited her mother. How many times had she come home to find Kayla already there, chatting with Daniel in the kitchen like old friends? How many knowing looks had passed between them, while Monica poured wine and played hostess to her own betrayer? Daniel finally found his voice. "Monica, you're making this sound worse than it is. These women were already unhappy in their marriages." "Shut up." The words came out quiet, but with enough force to stop him mid-sentence. "You don't get to speak anymore. You don't get to lie anymore. You don't get to pretend this was about love or loneliness or anything except greed." She stood up, towering over the table despite her elegant heels. "What's worse, finding out about an affair or discovering it happened in your own home?" Share your thoughts on betrayal and boundaries. The federal investigation had started when Rebecca from Alpharetta contacted the FBI about financial fraud. Her husband's banker connections had uncovered the shell companies, the money laundering, the systematic destruction of family for profit. Monica had been approached by Agent Rodriguez 6 months ago, asked to cooperate in building a case against her own husband. The choice had been simple: help bring down a predator or become another victim of his manipulation. Every intimate moment for the past 6 months has been performance, Monica said, her voice steady despite the pain. "Every time you touched me, every time you whispered that you loved me, I was gathering evidence of what you really are." The wire she'd worn during their last encounter that morning captured Daniel discussing his exit strategy, how he planned to divorce Monica publicly, destroy her reputation, and disappear with millions in hidden assets. Daniel's phone continued buzzing with news alerts. Federal investigations into his business practices, charges being filed, assets being frozen. Monica's voice cut through his panic. "The baby might not be yours, but the company definitely isn't anymore. Happy birthday to me." The manila envelope had one more surprise. Foreclosure notices for every property in Daniel's portfolio, seizure orders for his bank accounts, and arrest warrants that were already being executed. "While you were planning my humiliation," Monica said, "I was ensuring your destruction. The FBI has been waiting for you to make this move, to expose yourself publicly, to confirm everything we've documented." Daniel's empire wasn't just crumbling. It had been systematically demolished by the woman he'd underestimated most. The baby's crying had stopped, leaving only the sound of grown adults coming to terms with the wreckage of everything they thought they knew. Monica looked around the room at faces she'd considered friends, wondering how many had known about Daniel's affairs, how many had watched her be humiliated in silence. But she wasn't the victim anymore. She was the prosecutor, the judge, and the executioner of the life she'd built with a monster. "There's more," she said, and Daniel's face went from gray to green. So much more. While Daniel was playing house with her best friend, Monica was playing chess with his business, and she'd been winning for months. The restaurant's ambient lighting created shadows that danced across legal documents and bank statements, evidence that would reshape Atlanta's real estate landscape forever. Monica had become a forensic accountant by necessity, tracking money through shell companies and offshore accounts with the dedication of someone whose life depended on it. "You always underestimated me," Monica said, spreading financial records across the table like tarot cards revealing a dark future. "The little girl from Montgomery who worked 2 jobs to put you through real estate school. You forgot that I was the one balancing our books when we had nothing." The documents told a story of systematic fraud spanning 5 years. Properties purchased with stolen money, investments made with other people's assets, a financial empire built on the destruction of families and the theft of dreams. "This is my favorite," Monica said, holding up a bank statement. "The Buckhead property you bought with Sarah's divorce settlement. You told her the investment would secure her future, then transferred ownership to a shell company the day after she signed." Daniel's hands shook as he reached for his water glass. Those were legitimate business transactions. Legitimate. Monica's laugh was sharp enough to shatter crystal. "Should we call Sarah and ask her opinion? She's working 3 jobs now to pay rent on a studio apartment while you profit from the mansion she unknowingly bought you. The pattern was consistent across all his victims. Seduce lonely wives, convince them to invest in his projects, transfer their money to accounts they couldn't access, then disappear when their marriages collapsed under the financial strain. Monica pulled out her phone, showing a recording app. Do you remember our anniversary dinner last month? When you were bragging about your latest conquest while I sat across from you, smiling. She pressed play. Daniel's voice filled the silence. Alcohol making him careless with secrets. The beautiful thing about married women is they're so grateful for attention. Sarah practically begged me to take her money. Said she'd rather lose everything than lose me. His recorded laughter made several guests look away in disgust. Jennifer was even easier, desperate to prove she was worth leaving her surgeon husband for. I could have asked for anything and she'd have said yes. Monica stopped the recording. There are hours of these conversations. You pillow talking your way through confessions while I pretended to be asleep, using my body as a confessional booth for your crimes. The memory of those intimate moments now felt like violation. Daniel using her post-sex vulnerability to brag about destroying other women, treating her like a safe space to process his cruelty while she lay naked and trusting beside him. My lawyer has been building cases for each victim, Monica continued. Civil suits that will recover every stolen dollar, plus damages for emotional distress and fraud. Your assets are being seized as we speak. Daniel's empire had been impressive. Dozens of properties across Atlanta. Investments in everything from restaurants to tech startups. A portfolio worth $50 million. But none of it had been earned honestly. The federal charges are just the beginning, Monica said. Wire fraud, money laundering, racketeering, tax evasion. My cooperation with the FBI ensures the prosecution has everything they need for conviction. She'd spent months photographing documents, recording conversations, tracking financial transfers. Every detail of Daniel's criminal operation documented with the precision of someone who understood that justice required evidence, not just anger. How far would you go to secure your future when someone betrays you? The shell companies had names like Southern Dream Investments and Peachtree Capital Holdings, respectable-sounding businesses that existed only to hide stolen money. Monica had traced every dollar, identified every victim, connected every thread in a web that stretched across 3 states. Marcus helped, she admitted, and Daniel's face showed the first real fear she'd seen all evening. Your business partner has been documenting your crimes for 3 years. Ever since you destroyed his marriage, too. The revelation hit like a physical blow. Marcus hadn't just been silent about Daniel's affairs. He'd been actively gathering evidence, building a case, planning revenge with the patience of someone who understood that justice sometimes required waiting for the perfect moment. He approached me 6 months ago, Monica said. Showed me recordings, photographs, financial records. Asked if I was ready to stop being a victim and start being a prosecutor. The choice had been simple. Continue living a lie with a monster or risk everything to bring him down and save other women from the same fate. The FBI wire I've been wearing captures you discussing your exit strategy, Monica said. How you plan to divorce me publicly, destroy my reputation, and disappear with millions in hidden assets before anyone could stop you. Daniel's phone buzzed with another news alert. His picture on CNN, headlines about federal raids on his properties, interviews with victims brave enough to speak publicly about their experiences. While you were building your house of cards, Monica said, I was studying its foundation. Turns out it's pretty easy to topple an empire when it's built on lies. The restaurant felt like the center of a storm as phones throughout the room lit up with calls and messages. Atlanta's elite were discovering that their golden boy was fool's gold, painted over corruption that went deeper than anyone had imagined. Monica's voice carried across the chaos. Did I mention I've been cooperating with the FBI? Daniel's world wasn't just ending. It was being burned down with scientific precision by the woman he tried to destroy. Kayla finally found her voice, but what she revealed about Daniel's manipulation changed everything, including who the real victim was. Tears caught the restaurant's warm lighting like diamonds on Kayla's cheeks as her voice shook the foundations of everything everyone thought they knew. The baby in the carrier had fallen asleep, innocent of the destruction surrounding its very existence. "I need to tell you the truth," Kayla whispered, her words barely audible over the ambient music that felt obscene in the charged atmosphere. "All of it, because you don't understand what he really is." Monica's expression softened slightly, but her guard remained up. 3 years of betrayal couldn't be erased by tears, no matter how genuine they appeared. "Start talking," Monica said, her voice carrying the authority of someone who'd already heard too many lies. Kayla's hands shook as she reached for her water glass. "It started after my divorce. I was broke, emotionally destroyed, drinking too much. You remember how bad it was?" Monica did remember. Kayla sleeping on her couch for weeks, crying herself to sleep, unable to function after her ex-husband's abandonment. Monica had held her through panic attacks, driven her to therapy appointments, helped her find a job when she could barely get dressed in the morning. "Daniel offered to help," Kayla continued. "He said he knew what it felt like to be discarded, that he understood my pain. He was so gentle at first, so careful with my feelings." The manipulation had been textbook predator behavior. Daniel identifying a vulnerable woman in crisis, positioning himself as a protector and confidant, slowly isolating her from her support systems while making her dependent on his validation. "He never pressured me for sex," Kayla said, and Monica's eyebrows rose in surprise. "For months, he just listened. Brought me coffee when I was working late at the salon, took me to dinner when you were traveling for your mother's treatments. Made me feel like someone cared." The timeline was becoming clearer. Daniel had identified Kayla as a potential asset during her most vulnerable period, then spent months grooming her for whatever role he had planned. "When did it change?" Monica asked, though she wasn't sure she wanted to know. "The night I found out about the cancer scare." Kayla's voice broke completely. "I was terrified, alone, convinced I was going to die like my mother. Daniel held me while I cried, told me I was beautiful, that life was too short to waste on fear." The manipulation was sophisticated. Daniel using Kayla's mortality fears to break down her remaining resistance, positioning intimacy as a celebration of life rather than a betrayal of friendship. "I thought it meant something," Kayla sobbed. "I thought he was going to leave you for me. He said he was waiting for the right time, that he needed to protect his business interests first." Monica's stomach turned as she recognized the classic pattern. Promise eventual commitment to maintain control, always with excuses about timing or circumstances that kept the victim hopeful but powerless. But it wasn't about love, was it? Monica's voice was gentler now, recognizing pain that mirrored her own. "I found out about the others by accident," Kayla admitted. "Sarah came to my salon 6 months ago. Started talking about her real estate developer boyfriend, describing someone who sounded exactly like Daniel. When she showed me his picture, the moment of recognition must have been devastating. Realizing you weren't special, weren't chosen, weren't loved, but simply another mark in a con that had been running for years. I confronted him," Kayla said. "Demanded to know how many others there were. That's when he showed me the recordings." Monica's blood chilled. "What recordings?" "Us. Together. In your guest bedroom. In hotel rooms. In his office. Hours of intimate moments I thought were private. He said if I ever try to leave him or tell you the truth, he'd release everything online. The violation was staggering. Daniel hadn't just manipulated Kayla into betraying Monica. He'd been documenting the betrayal, turning intimate moments into weapons of control. When someone you trusted betrays you, but they were also being manipulated, does that change how you feel? Can you separate the betrayal from the circumstances? "The baby," Monica said quietly. "Whose is it?" Kayla Saab was answer enough before she spoke. "Marcus's. Daniel arranged for us to meet during one of his business dinners. Said Marcus needed someone to talk to about his failing marriage, that I'd be perfect for helping him through the divorce." Another setup, another manipulation. Daniel had orchestrated even this betrayal, using Kayla to destroy his business partner's marriage while creating another layer of control through unwanted pregnancy. "Marcus doesn't know," Kayla whispered. I haven't told him about the baby. Daniel said he'd claim paternity. That would be easier for everyone if we just let people believe what they wanted. The cruelty was breathtaking. Daniel had impregnated his business partner's wife through his manipulation of Kayla, then planned to claim the child as his own while using it to destroy his marriage to Monica. There's something else. Kayla's voice dropped to barely audible. Daniel didn't just seduce me. He recorded everything. And you're not the only wife he's done this to. Monica's world tilted on its axis. What do you mean? The videos. He has recordings of all of us. Every woman he seduced, every intimate moment, every private conversation. He calls it his insurance policy. The scope of Daniel's crimes was expanding beyond financial fraud into sexual exploitation and blackmail. He hadn't just been stealing money. He'd been documenting sexual encounters without consent, building a library of leverage against his victims. Some of the women don't even know they were recorded, Kayla continued. Hidden cameras in hotel rooms, recording devices disguised as gifts. He has thousands of hours of footage. Monica felt sick. How many women had been violated without their knowledge? How many intimate moments have been turned into weapons of control? Why are you telling me this now? Monica asked. Because I saw the FBI agents outside, Kayla whispered. Because I know he's planning to destroy you completely and disappear. And because I can't let him hurt anyone else. The restaurant's atmosphere had shifted from shocked silence to electric tension. Monica realized that Kayla's confession wasn't just about their personal betrayal. It was about a criminal enterprise that went far beyond anything she'd imagined. Monica, there's something else. Daniel didn't just seduce me. He recorded everything. And you're not the only wife he's done this to. The words hung in the air like a promise of revelations that would reshape everything they thought they knew about the man who destroyed their lives. As FBI agents finally enter the restaurant, Monica realized the birthday dinner was never about humiliation. It was Daniel's escape plan, and she'd just become his unwitting accomplice. The real story was just beginning. Daniel wasn't just a cheating husband. He was running a systematic operation that destroyed marriages and stole fortunes, with Monica as his perfect cover. The restaurant felt like the center of a storm as phones buzzed with calls from other women, voices joining Monica's in a chorus of recognition and rage. What started as a birthday dinner had become the epicenter of revelations that would topple Atlanta's social elite. Agent Rodriguez stepped through the restaurant's entrance, her badge visible against her black jacket. Behind her, 3 more federal agents moved with the precision of people who'd been planning this moment for months. Nobody leaves, Rodriguez announced to the room. This is now an active crime scene. Monica felt a strange sense of relief. After months of wearing wires, recording conversations, and living with a monster, the pretense was finally over. Mrs. Patterson, Rodriguez addressed Monica formally. Thank you for your cooperation. Everything you've provided has been invaluable to our investigation. The room buzzed with confused whispers. Monica Patterson, victim of public humiliation just minutes ago, was revealed as a federal cooperator who'd been building a case against her own husband. Daniel's face showed the first real understanding of how completely he'd been outmaneuvered. You've been working with him this whole time? 6 months, Monica said, her voice steady. Ever since Rebecca from Alpharetta contacted the FBI about your financial fraud schemes. They needed someone on the inside to document your crimes. She pulled out a small device from her purse. The recording equipment she'd been carrying for half a year, capturing confessions during intimate moments when Daniel thought he was safe. Every time you bragged about destroying those women, Monica continued. Every time you laughed about their desperation, every time you planned your next target, I was documenting it all. The recordings were disturbing evidence of how Daniel used intimate recordings for blackmail, turning love into leverage and passion into prison. Hours of footage showing him exploiting vulnerable women, documenting their most private moments without consent, building an archive of control that kept victims silent and compliant. How do you recover when you realize your entire relationship was built on manipulation? Share your strength with someone who might need to hear they're not alone. Rodriguez addressed the room. Daniel Patterson is under arrest for wire fraud, money laundering, racketeering, and sexual exploitation. His criminal network extends beyond this city, involving dozens of victims across 3 states. The scope was staggering. Daniel hadn't just been running affairs. He'd built an empire on the systematic destruction of families, using his wealth and charm to identify vulnerable women, then exploiting their emotional needs for financial gain. Sarah, Jennifer, Rebecca, they're here tonight, Monica said, gesturing toward 3 women who'd entered with the federal agents, ready to face the man who destroyed their lives and stole their futures. The confrontation was electric. 3 women who'd believed they were Daniel's only love, discovering they were simply entries in a catalog of conquest, their pain monetized and their trust weaponized. Sarah stepped forward first, her voice shaking with controlled rage. "You made me believe my marriage was worthless, that my husband didn't deserve me. You convinced me to steal from my own children's college funds to invest in your fake companies." Jennifer's voice was steel-wrapped in silk. "You recorded me without my knowledge, then used those recordings to blackmail me into transferring my inheritance. My grandmother's life savings, gone because I trusted your lies about love." Rebecca's words cut deepest. "You destroyed my family, stole my money, and when I tried to leave, you threatened to release intimate videos unless I stayed silent. My children lost their home because of your greed." Daniel's criminal network was more sophisticated than anyone had imagined. Shell companies designed to launder stolen money, offshore accounts to hide assets, and a systematic approach to identifying and exploiting wealthy women going through marital difficulties. The beautiful thing about married women is they're so desperate for validation. Monica played another recording, Daniel's voice filling the silence with his clinical assessment of victim psychology. "Find them during crisis moments, death in family, job loss, health scares, and they'll give you anything for the promise of being special." The methodology was chilling. Daniel had studied emotional manipulation like a science, identifying vulnerability patterns and exploiting them with predatory precision. Kayla's role in the operation was becoming clearer. Her salon served as a recruitment center, where lonely women shared their marital problems with someone they trusted, never knowing their confidant was feeding information to a predator who specialized in destroying families. "I kept a list," Kayla confessed, her voice barely audible. Names of clients going through divorces, women complaining about their husbands, anyone who seemed emotionally vulnerable. "Daniel paid me $5,000 for each successful introduction." The betrayal cut deeper than adultery. Kayla had monetized friendship, turning trust into transaction and confidence into commodity. Agent Rodriguez pulled out a tablet, showing a map dotted with pins across Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. Each pin represents a victim. 43 women over 5 years, with total financial losses exceeding $20 million. The restaurant's elegant atmosphere felt obscene as the scope of human destruction became clear. Behind every pin was a family destroyed, children displaced, dreams shattered for the profit of a man who treated human suffering like a business opportunity. "There's more," Rodriguez continued. "The recordings weren't just for blackmail. Daniel was selling them on dark websites, monetizing intimate moments without consent. Some videos have been viewed thousands of times." Monica felt sick. Her own private moments with Daniel, captured during what she thought were loving encounters, had likely been commodified and sold to strangers who consumed her vulnerability for entertainment. The federal case was ironclad. Years of evidence, dozens of victims willing to testify, financial records showing systematic fraud, and recordings that captured Daniel's own admissions of guilt. But as Rodriguez approached Daniel with handcuffs, he smiled, the same confident expression that had charmed his way into so many lives and bank accounts. "You think this ends it?" Daniel said, his voice carrying across the silent room. "I've hidden assets in places you'll never find. Offshore accounts, cryptocurrency wallets, properties bought under names you don't know. You'll get nothing, and I'll be out of prison in 5 years to start over." His final threat hung in the air like poison gas. Even facing federal prosecution, Daniel believed his wealth and connections would protect him from real consequences. Monica stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried to every corner of the restaurant. "That's where you're wrong, darling. You see, I didn't just cooperate with the FBI." She pulled out her phone, showing a banking app with account balances that made Daniel's face go white. "I've been liquidating your hidden assets for months. Every offshore account, every cryptocurrency wallet, every property bought under fake names. It's all gone, transferred to a fund for your victims." The color drained from Daniel's face as understanding hit. While he'd been planning her destruction, Monica had been systematically dismantling his financial empire with the same precision he'd used to build it. "Your Swiss accounts, your Cayman Islands holdings, your Bitcoin wallets. I had access to everything because you used our anniversary date for every password." Romantic, really. As handcuffs clicked around Daniel's wrists, his confident facade finally cracked completely. The restaurant bore witness to the complete destruction of a predator who'd underestimated the strength of the women he'd tried to break. But Monica's phone was ringing with a call from Agent Rodriguez that would change everything again. "We found something in Daniel's cell. He's been getting visits from someone using Kayla's name. But Kayla's been in protective custody for months. The birthday party wasn't Daniel's victory lap. It was his confession booth, broadcast live to federal agents who had been waiting for exactly this moment." The elegant restaurant transformed into a crime scene, with agents moving like shadows between tables while the city lights below seemed to pulse with the rhythm of justice. What guests had witnessed wasn't just a marital breakdown. It was the controlled demolition of a criminal empire. This entire evening was orchestrated. Agent Rodriguez explained to the stunned crowd. Every element designed to make Daniel feel safe enough to expose his crimes publicly. The revelation hit like a physical blow. The birthday dinner, the guest list, even the restaurant choice. Everything had been calculated to create the perfect environment for Daniel's downfall. The wire Mrs. Patterson wore during their last intimate encounter this morning captured him, detailing his escape plan. Rodriguez continued. How he intended to humiliate her publicly, then disappear with millions in hidden assets before anyone could stop him. Monica's body betrayed her disgust as she remembered that morning. Daniel's hands on her skin while his phone buzzed with messages from Kayla, his whispered endearments masking plans for her destruction. She'd responded to his touch while knowing it was performance, gathering evidence that would ensure justice. He planned to fake his own death after the divorce, Monica added, her voice steady despite the personal cost. New identity, new life, funded by money stolen from women who trusted him with their hearts and futures. The scope of Daniel's escape plan was sophisticated. False documents, offshore accounts, even a new identity established through forged paperwork and bribed officials. He'd been building his exit strategy for years, always planning to abandon Monica once she'd serve her purpose as cover for his crimes. Would you have the courage to risk everything to stop someone from hurting others? What does justice mean to you? Daniel's face showed the dawning realization that every aspect of his plan had been anticipated and countered. The birthday dinner wasn't his stage. It was his trap, carefully constructed by the woman he'd underestimated most. The federal investigation began 2 years ago, Rodriguez explained, when patterns emerged in divorce proceedings across multiple states. Wealthy women suddenly making poor financial decisions, transferring assets to the same shell companies, all after relationships with men matching Daniel's description. The pattern recognition had been the key. Federal analysts studying financial crimes noticed the statistical impossibility of so many intelligent women making identical mistakes unless they were being systematically manipulated. Rebecca's banker husband provided the first solid lead, Monica said. His connections to federal financial crimes units meant Daniel's shell companies were flagged for investigation. When they approached me 6 months ago, I had to choose between being another victim or helping stop a predator. The choice had been simple in theory, devastating in practice. Living with a monster while gathering evidence meant enduring months of intimate contact with someone whose touch she knew was manipulation, whose declarations of love were calculated lies. Every kiss was evidence gathering, Monica admitted, her voice carrying the weight of sacrifices the room couldn't fully understand. Every tender moment was data collection. I had to let him believe he was loved while documenting his plans to destroy me. The wire recordings were extensive, hundreds of hours capturing Daniel's casual cruelty, his clinical discussions of victim psychology, his detailed explanations of financial fraud techniques. Pillow talk that revealed the methodology behind years of systematic destruction. The restaurant's private dining room had been selected specifically for its acoustics and camera angles. Every conversation, every revelation, every confession had been recorded by federal equipment hidden throughout the space. Even the guests were chosen strategically, Rodriguez revealed. Business associates who needed to witness Daniel's downfall, family members who deserved to know the truth, and victims who required closure through confrontation. The guest list read like a catalog of Daniel's crimes. Each person present had either been harmed by his actions or was necessary for the legal case being built against him. The birthday party was actually a carefully orchestrated sting operation disguised as a social event. Daniel's phone continued buzzing with news alerts about his criminal network. Federal raids on his properties, arrests of accomplices, interviews with victims brave enough to speak publicly about their experiences. Marcus has been cooperating with federal authorities for 3 years, Monica revealed, and Daniel's last hope crumbled. Ever since you destroyed his marriage and stole from his accounts, he's been documenting your crimes, building evidence, waiting for the perfect moment to bring you down. The business partnership had been a facade, Marcus gathering evidence while pretending loyalty, documenting financial crimes while appearing complicit, building the case that would ultimately destroy his partner's empire. The Kayla situation was the final piece, Rodriguez explained. We needed Daniel to expose the sexual exploitation ring, the non-consensual recordings, the blackmail operation. Using his relationship with Mrs. Patterson's friend was the trigger that made him reveal everything. Kayla's pregnancy had been the catalyst Daniel couldn't resist exploiting. His need to publicly humiliate Monica by claiming another man's child as his own had led him to expose crimes that federal investigators had been trying to prove for years. The room felt electric with tension as the full scope of the operation became clear. Not just financial fraud, but sexual exploitation, blackmail, human trafficking through emotional manipulation, and money laundering that funded additional criminal enterprises. As we speak, federal agents are executing search warrants across 3 states, Rodriguez announced. Every property, every account, every device connected to Daniel's network is being seized and analyzed. Daniel's confident smile had long since disappeared, replaced by the gray pallor of someone realizing that escape was impossible and consequences were inevitable. But as the handcuffs clicked into place, his phone lit up with an incoming call from a number that made Agent Rodriguez's face go pale. "Answer it," Rodriguez commanded, holding the phone to Daniel's ear while recording the conversation. The voice on the other end was female, older, speaking with the authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed. "The birthday party was beautiful, Daniel, but you've disappointed me greatly. Time for cleanup protocol." As the call ended, Rodriguez turned to Monica with an expression of deep concern. Daniel wasn't working alone. His mentor taught him everything, and she's here tonight. The investigation had uncovered a larger criminal organization, with Daniel as merely one operative in a network that specialized in destroying marriages for profit across the southeastern United States. Monica's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Impressive performance tonight. You're too smart to waste on revenge. Join us, and you'll never be vulnerable again. Refuse, and you'll never be safe." The birthday dinner had ended one chapter of criminal activity, but had also exposed Monica to dangers she'd never imagined. The woman who taught Daniel how to destroy marriages for profit was still free, still operating, and now she had Monica in her sights. Daniel thought his offshore accounts were untouchable, until Monica revealed she'd been tracing his money for 2 years, with help from someone he never suspected. Bank statements and financial records spread across the table like a treasure map, each number representing another piece of Daniel's crumbling empire. The restaurant's warm lighting cast shadows over documents that told the story of systematic theft spanning multiple countries and currencies. Swiss accounts, Cayman Islands holdings, cryptocurrency wallets. I had access to everything because you used our anniversary date for every password, Monica said, her voice carrying the satisfaction of someone who'd outplayed a master manipulator. Romantic, really. The forensic accountant who'd helped her trace the money stepped forward from the group of federal agents. Dr. Sarah Chun, specialist in international financial crimes, had spent 18 months following Daniel's money through a maze of shell companies and offshore jurisdictions. The network is sophisticated, Dr. Chun explained, pulling up banking records on her tablet. 23 countries, 47 banks, hundreds of accounts designed to make money disappear. But every system has weaknesses. Daniel's financial empire was built on the assumption that his victims would be too emotionally devastated to fight back, too financially ruined to hire experts, too ashamed to pursue justice. He'd never anticipated a victim with the intelligence and determination to systematically dismantle his operations. The beautiful thing about narcissists, Monica said, is they always underestimate everyone else. You thought I was just a pretty face from Montgomery who got lucky marrying up. You never imagined I'd been studying your methods, learning your systems, preparing for this moment. Her business trips hadn't been visiting family or attending conferences. They'd been meetings with federal investigators, sessions with forensic accountants, strategy planning with prosecutors, building the case that would ultimately destroy Daniel's criminal empire. Have you ever had to play detective in your own life? Sometimes the truth requires patience and strategy. Share your experience with uncovering difficult truths. The money laundering operation was textbook sophisticated. Stolen funds would flow through legitimate businesses in countries with bank secrecy laws, get converted to cryptocurrency for untraceable transfers, then emerge as clean investments in American real estate markets. Sarah's inheritance went from her Atlanta bank to a shell company in Delaware, then to cryptocurrency exchanges in Estonia, before being invested in Miami condominiums that Daniel owns under a false identity. Dr. Chun traced the path on a digital map. The entire journey took 6 days and left no paper trail. Except Monica had been tracking every transaction for 2 years, building a comprehensive map of Daniel's financial crimes with the dedication of someone whose life depended on understanding every detail. I had help, Monica admitted, and Daniel's face showed confusion mixed with growing dread. Someone who knew your methods better than anyone because he'd been watching you commit these crimes for years. Marcus stepped forward from among the federal agents, his presence explaining how Monica had gained access to Daniel's most carefully guarded secrets. The business partnership had been a facade, Marcus documenting crimes while pretending loyalty, gathering evidence while appearing complicit. 3 years ago, you convinced my wife to invest her trust fund in your fake development project, Marcus said, his voice steady despite obvious emotional cost. $50 million that was supposed to secure our children's futures. When she realized she'd been conned, the shame destroyed her. She took her own life rather than face what she'd done. The room fell silent as the personal cost of Daniel's crimes became clear. Beyond financial theft was human destruction. Families broken, lives lost, children left without parents because of one man's greed. I've been planning your destruction ever since, Marcus continued. Documenting every crime, recording every conversation, building the evidence that would ensure you never hurt another family. Monica wasn't your only victim gathering information. I was your business partner doing the same thing. The partnership had lasted 5 years, with Marcus playing the loyal associate while secretly photographing documents, recording meetings, and tracking financial transactions that would ultimately form the backbone of the federal case against Daniel. Your wife trusted me with her password to your shared accounts, Marcus revealed. She thought she was helping me verify business expenses. Instead, I was documenting every theft, every fraudulent transfer, every criminal transaction you thought was hidden. Monica's role in the financial investigation had been more extensive than anyone realized. Not just wearing wires during intimate moments, but accessing Daniel's computer systems, photographing documents during his business trips, even creating duplicate files of sensitive information. The offshore accounts were your biggest mistake, Dr. Chen said. Using the same anniversary date for every password made it simple to access them once Mrs. Patterson provided the information. From there, tracking fund movements became routine. Daniel's confidence in his system security had been his downfall. Believing his victims were too unsophisticated to understand international banking, too emotionally destroyed to mount organized resistance, too financially devastated to hire experts. Every dollar has been recovered, Monica announced, and Daniel's face went from pale to gray. Transferred to accounts controlled by federal authorities, earmarked for victim restitution. Your escape fund became your victim's recovery fund. The reversal was complete. Money stolen from women trying to rebuild their lives after divorce was being returned with interest, funding their recovery instead of his escape. The Miami condominiums, the Swiss bank accounts, the cryptocurrency holdings, all liquidated and converted to a fund that will help your victims rebuild what you destroyed, Dr. Chen added. Your financial empire is now their foundation for recovery. But Daniel's expression showed something beyond defeat, a knowledge that Monica and the federal agents were missing crucial information. You think you found everything? Daniel's voice carried despite his restraints. You think I was stupid enough to put all my assets where they could be traced? Agent Rodriguez leaned forward. What are you talking about? The real money was never in my name, Daniel said, his smile returning despite the handcuffs. It's an account controlled by someone you'll never touch, someone who's been running this operation longer than I've been alive. Monica's phone buzzed with another text from the unknown number. Impressive work tonight. But you've only found the money Daniel was allowed to access. The real fortune is protected by people who make federal agents disappear. The financial investigation had been comprehensive, but it was becoming clear that Daniel's criminal network extended far beyond what they discovered. Someone with more power, more resources, and more experience was still operating in the shadows. Dr. Chen's face showed concern as she checked her secure communications device. I'm getting reports of blocked access to several international accounts. Someone with very high-level clearance is restricting our ability to trace additional funds. The evening had begun with Monica's birthday celebration and was ending with the realization that Daniel's arrest was just the beginning of a much larger and more dangerous investigation. Marcus placed a protective hand on Monica's shoulder as federal agents prepared to escort Daniel from the restaurant. There's something else you need to know, he said quietly. The woman who taught Daniel his methods, she's not just his mentor. She's been watching you specifically for months, and tonight wasn't just about bringing him down. It was about recruiting you. Marcus wasn't just Daniel's business partner. He was another husband whose wife fell victim to Daniel's predatory games, and he'd been planning revenge for 3 years. The restaurant's private dining room became a war room where two wounded warriors finally revealed their coordinated assault on their common enemy. Marcus had hidden his pain behind professional facades and business meetings, but his wife's suicide had transformed grief into methodical pursuit of justice. I loved her more than my own life, Marcus said, his voice carrying the weight of loss that time couldn't heal. 30 years of marriage, 3 children, a future we planned together. Daniel destroyed all of it in 6 months. His wife Amanda had been the perfect target, intelligent, sophisticated, going through a midlife crisis that made her question her worth and her marriage. Daniel had identified her vulnerability during a charity event and spent weeks positioning himself as the understanding friend who truly saw her value. She thought she was special, Marcus continued. Thought Daniel loved her enough to leave his wife, build a new life together. She transferred $50 million from our children's trust funds because she believed love was worth any sacrifice. The manipulation had been textbook predatory behavior. Daniel convincing Amanda that her marriage was holding her back, that her husband didn't appreciate her intelligence, that her children would understand once they saw how happy she could be with someone who truly valued her. When she realized she'd been conned, when the truth about Daniel's other women came out, the shame destroyed her. Marcus's voice cracked with emotion he'd held inside for 3 years. She couldn't face our children, couldn't live with what she'd done to their futures. Amanda's suicide note had been brief, apologizing for her betrayal, begging forgiveness for stealing from their children, expressing hope that her life insurance would somehow compensate for the trust fund money she'd given to a predator who never loved her. Sometimes justice requires patience and unlikely alliances. Have you ever found strength in unexpected partnerships during difficult times? Marcus had spent the months after his wife's death planning systematic revenge. Not the hot anger of immediate retaliation, but the cold calculation of someone who understood that destroying Daniel required dismantling his entire operation piece by piece. I approached the FBI 6 months after Amanda died, Marcus explained. Offered to maintain my business partnership with Daniel while gathering evidence of his crimes. They were already investigating him, but they needed someone on the inside. The federal cooperation had been extensive. Marcus wearing recording devices during business meetings, photographing confidential documents, even maintaining access to Daniel's computer systems under the pretense of managing shared investments. He trusted me because he thought grief made me weak, Marcus said. Thought I was too broken to be a threat, too devastated to fight back. He had no idea that losing Amanda had given me nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. The evidence Marcus gathered was comprehensive. Financial records showing systematic fraud, recordings of Daniel discussing victim psychology, even video footage of him bragging about sexual conquest during business dinners. He recorded himself explaining how to identify vulnerable women, how to exploit their emotional needs, how to convince them to steal from their own families, Marcus revealed. Hours of footage that he thought was just locker room talk between partners. Monica's cooperation with federal authorities had begun after Marcus approached her directly, not through official channels, but as one victim reaching out to another, offering evidence and support for the difficult choice of fighting back against the predator. I knew Daniel was planning something public for your birthday, Marcus said. He'd been bragging about it for weeks, describing how he would humiliate you in front of everyone you knew. That's when we knew we had to move. The coordination between Marcus and Monica had been crucial to the evening's success. Her role was to keep Daniel feeling confident and secure, while Marcus ensured federal agents were positioned to capture everything. The baby announcement was the final trigger we needed, Marcus explained. We knew Daniel couldn't resist the opportunity to maximize your humiliation while exposing his relationship with Kayla. His need for dramatic gestures was always his weakness. But the revelation about the baby's true parentage had been as shocking to Marcus as everyone else. Learning that Kayla was carrying his child, conceived during a manipulation orchestrated by Daniel, added another layer of personal violation to an already devastating situation. I didn't know about the pregnancy until tonight, Marcus admitted. Daniel arranged our introduction, claimed Kayla needed emotional support during her recovery from divorce. I thought I was helping a friend of Monica's, not being set up as another victim. The manipulation was sophisticated, Daniel using Kayla to destroy Marcus's marriage while creating leverage through unwanted pregnancy, then planning to claim the child as his own while using it to destroy his partnership with both of them. Monica reached across the table to squeeze Marcus's hand. None of us understood the full scope of what he was doing. We were all just trying to survive while he turned our lives into pieces in his game. The solidarity between victims was becoming a source of strength. 3 years of isolation and grief had prepared Marcus for this moment. Not just bringing Daniel to justice, but helping other victims understand they weren't alone in their experiences. Amanda left behind journals, Marcus said quietly. Detailed accounts of Daniel's manipulation techniques, his promises, his methods of control. She documented everything, hoping other women might learn from her mistakes. The journals would become crucial evidence in the federal case. First-person accounts of predatory behavior written by someone who understood she'd been victimized but wanted to prevent others from suffering the same fate. Agent Rodriguez stepped forward with additional information. Mr. Marcus's cooperation has been invaluable, but we've discovered something troubling. Daniel's mentor has been in contact with him throughout his incarceration, and she's been very interested in learning about his cooperation with federal authorities. The implication was clear. Marcus's role in bringing down Daniel had put him in danger from the larger criminal organization that had trained and supported Daniel's operations. "There's something else," Marcus said, his voice dropping to barely audible. Amanda wasn't Daniel's first victim to commit suicide. The FBI has identified at least 3 other women who took their own lives after being victimized by his network. We're not just dealing with financial crimes. We're dealing with psychological warfare that's killed innocent people. The scope of Daniel's crimes was expanding beyond anything they'd imagined. Not just theft and fraud, but systematic psychological destruction that had cost lives and devastated families across multiple states. Monica's phone buzzed with another message from the unknown number, touching reunion between victims. But Marcus isn't the ally you think he is. Check his phone records from last week. Someone's been keeping secrets. The text sent a chill through Monica as she realized their enemy was closer than they'd thought, with access to information that suggested surveillance or infiltration of their support network. As Marcus and Monica shook hands to seal their alliance against Daniel, Kayla whispered urgently from across the table. "There's something else. Daniel isn't working alone. His mentor taught him everything, and she's here tonight." The evening's revelations were far from over, and the real danger was just beginning to reveal itself. The woman who taught Daniel how to destroy marriages for profit had been watching from the bar all evening, and now she was walking toward their table with a smile that promised new horrors. The restaurant's atmosphere shifted as the elegant older woman approached, her presence changing the very air pressure in the room like an approaching storm. She moved with the confidence of someone accustomed to controlling situations and people, her designer clothes and perfect makeup masking something predatory beneath the polished surface. "Daniel, darling," she said, her voice carrying the cultured accent of old money and private schools. "You've made such a mess of things tonight." Agent Rodriguez reached for her weapon, but the woman raised a hand in a gesture that somehow commanded attention and respect despite the federal presence in the room. "I'm Dr. Victoria Ashworth," she announced, producing credentials that made Rodriguez pause. "Licensed psychologist, federal consultant, and, unfortunately, someone who's been tracking this particular criminal network for far longer than your investigation has been active." The credentials checked out through Rodriguez's secure verification system. But something about the woman's presence felt wrong to Monica. The way she looked at Daniel with proprietary interest, the way her eyes assessed each person in the room like assets to be cataloged and potentially acquired. "I've been working undercover for 18 months, Dr. Ashworth continued, infiltrating the organization that trained Daniel and dozens of other predators like him. Tonight was supposed to be my opportunity to gather final evidence before federal arrest began." Her explanation was smooth, professional, backed by documentation that appeared legitimate. But Monica's instincts, sharpened by months of living with a master manipulator, screamed warnings about this woman's true intentions. "The network Daniel belongs to is international," Dr. Ashworth explained, settling into a chair with the ease of someone taking control of a situation. "Sophisticated psychological manipulation combined with financial fraud, operating across multiple countries with protection from very powerful people." She pulled out a tablet showing organizational charts that looked like military intelligence briefings. Names, photographs, financial connections, and operational territories spanning 3 continents. "Daniel was a mid-level operative," she continued, "effective at local operations, but too emotionally unstable for larger assignments. His need for dramatic gestures and public recognition made him a liability to the organization. The assessment was clinical, cold, treating Daniel's destruction of lives as simply poor operational security rather than criminal behavior. How would you react if you discovered your private moments have been watched and recorded? The violation goes beyond betrayal. It's the theft of intimacy itself." Dr. Ashworth's tablet displayed surveillance footage that made Monica's blood freeze. Intimate moments between her and Daniel, captured by hidden cameras in their bedroom, bathroom, even their kitchen during quiet morning conversations. The organization requires comprehensive documentation of all operations. Dr. Ashworth explained matter-of-factly. Your marriage provided perfect cover for Daniel's activities, but also created valuable intelligence about potential assets. The violation was staggering. Not just their intimate life, but every private moment had been recorded, analyzed, and cataloged by strangers who viewed human relationships as intelligence-gathering opportunities. You've been under surveillance for 3 years, Dr. Ashworth continued. Initially as Daniel's wife and potential liability, but increasingly as someone with unique qualifications for our type of work. Monica's intelligence, her ability to compartmentalize emotions while gathering evidence, her success in manipulating Daniel while maintaining cover, all of it had been observed and evaluated by a criminal organization that recruited people capable of systematic psychological manipulation. The offer I'm making tonight is simple, Dr. Ashworth said, placing a business card on the table. Join our organization voluntarily, and you'll have unlimited resources, complete protection, and the power to never be vulnerable again. Continue fighting us, and you'll discover how many ways intelligent people can disappear. The threat was delivered with the same calm professionalism as everything else, but its implications were clear. Monica's choice wasn't between justice and revenge. It was between cooperation and elimination. Agent Rodriguez stepped forward, but Dr. Ashworth's credentials gave her authority that complicated any law enforcement response. Federal agencies don't arrest their own consultants without extraordinary evidence of criminal activity. The surveillance footage you've seen is just a sample, Dr. Ashworth continued. We have recordings of every federal agent involved in this operation, every prosecutor building cases against our network, every victim who's testified against our operatives. The implication was terrifying. The criminal organization had infiltrated federal law enforcement at levels that made prosecution nearly impossible and resistance potentially fatal. Monica studied the woman across from her, recognizing something familiar in her controlled demeanor and analytical assessment of human weakness. You're not just consulting on this case. You created the methods Daniel used. Dr. Ashworth's smile was genuinely pleased, like a teacher whose student had finally grasped a difficult concept. Very good. Yes, I developed the psychological profiles that identify optimal victims, the manipulation techniques that ensure compliance, and the operational security that protects our network from exposure. She was the architect of systematic human destruction, the scientist who had turned emotional manipulation into reproducible methodology, the professor who taught predators like Daniel how to weaponize love and trust. My doctoral dissertation was on exploiting attachment disorders in adults experiencing relationship transitions. Dr. Ashworth explained with academic pride. I discovered that women going through divorce, death of family members, or major life changes could be systematically manipulated using specific psychological triggers. The research had been perverted from legitimate psychology into a criminal enterprise. Dr. Ashworth had taken scientific understanding of human vulnerability and transformed it into a playbook for predators. Daniel was one of my most successful students, she continued. 43 victims over 5 years, $20 million recovered, and minimal law enforcement attention until his emotional attachment to you made him careless. Monica was the variable that had disrupted the system. Daniel's genuine feelings for her had made him vulnerable to manipulation himself, creating the emotional instability that led to his exposure and capture. Which brings us to tonight's real purpose, Dr. Ashworth said, her eyes locking onto Monica's with predatory intensity. You've demonstrated abilities that our organization values highly. Intelligence, emotional control, strategic thinking, and the capacity for long-term deception under extreme pressure. The recruitment pitch was seductive in its own way. Unlimited power, complete security, and the promise of never again being vulnerable to the kind of betrayal Daniel had inflicted. Think carefully about your next words, Dr. Ashworth said softly, because they will determine not just your future, but the future of everyone in this room who's tried to oppose us. Monica's phone buzzed with a final message. The choice is simple. Join us in live, or resist and watch everyone you care about disappear one by one. You have 60 seconds to decide. The birthday dinner that began with betrayal was ending with a choice that would define not just Monica's survival, but her very soul. The offer was seductive: unlimited wealth, complete control, and the power to never be betrayed again. But Monica knew accepting would cost her soul. The restaurant's elegance felt like a beautiful cage as Monica weighed choices that would define not just her future, but her very identity. Dr. Ashworth sat across from her like a spider in the center of a web, patient and confident that her prey would eventually choose survival over morality. "You have 90 seconds remaining," Dr. Ashworth said, checking an expensive watch that probably cost more than most people's cars. After that, the offer expires and other protocols begin. The threat hung in the air like poison gas. Monica could see federal agents throughout the restaurant, but Dr. Ashworth's credentials and connections meant law enforcement was paralyzed, unable to act against someone who appeared to be their own consultant. "Let me explain what you're really choosing between," Dr. Ashworth continued, her voice carrying the authority of someone accustomed to breaking people's resistance. Option 1. Join our organization and gain access to unlimited resources, complete protection, and the power to control your own destiny. She gestured to her tablet, showing bank accounts with balances that made Daniel's stolen millions look like pocket change. Properties around the world, investment portfolios, cryptocurrency holdings, the financial empire of an organization that treated human suffering as a renewable resource. Option 2. Continue this foolish resistance and watch everyone you care about disappear one by one. Your mother in Montgomery, struggling with medical bills despite Daniel's payments. Your sister in Birmingham, working 2 jobs to support her children. Marcus, whose cooperation with federal authorities has made him a liability to be eliminated. The precision of her knowledge was terrifying. Dr. Ashworth hadn't just been watching Monica. She'd been cataloging every person who mattered to her, turning love into leverage and relationships into weapons. When faced with the choice between justice and revenge, between safety and integrity, which would you choose? Share what guides your moral decisions. Monica's mind raced through possibilities, looking for escape routes that didn't exist. The criminal organization had infiltrated federal law enforcement, compromised the investigation, and positioned themselves to eliminate anyone who threatened their operations. The beauty of psychological manipulation, Dr. Ashworth explained, is that it transforms victims into assets. Sarah, Jennifer, Rebecca, they're not just casualties of Daniel's crimes. They're recruitment opportunities for our organization. The tablet showed updated profiles for each of Daniel's victims, detailed psychological assessments, financial analyses, and recommendations for how their trauma could be exploited for organizational benefit. Sarah's humiliation and financial desperation make her perfect for seduction operations targeting wealthy, divorced men. Jennifer's medical background provides access to pharmaceutical networks we utilize. Rebecca's banking connections offer money laundering opportunities. Each woman's destruction had been calculated not just for immediate profit, but for long-term exploitation of their vulnerabilities. The organization didn't just steal money. It harvested human resources, turning victims into perpetrators through carefully managed psychological pressure. Your role would be different, Dr. Ashworth said, her attention focusing on Monica with predatory intensity. Executive level, overseeing operations across the southeastern United States. Your intelligence, strategic thinking, and proven ability to maintain long-term deception make you ideal for management positions. The offer wasn't just about joining a criminal organization. It was about becoming a leader in the systematic destruction of families and the exploitation of human vulnerability. Monica looked around the restaurant at faces she'd known for years, people who'd witnessed her humiliation and destruction, now watching as she faced a choice between survival and integrity. The mentor's manipulation techniques were on full display, Dr. Ashworth continued, offering power as the ultimate aphrodisiac, promising control over people like Daniel who had once held power over her. The psychological warfare was sophisticated. Dr. Ashworth understood that Monica's greatest fear wasn't death. It was powerlessness, vulnerability, the possibility of being betrayed and destroyed again by someone she trusted. "You'll never be vulnerable again," Dr. Ashworth promised. "Never again will someone like Daniel be able to manipulate you, humiliate you, steal from you. You'll have the resources to destroy anyone who threatens you. The intelligence network to anticipate betrayal before it happens." The seduction was working despite Monica's intellectual understanding of the manipulation. The promise of never again being powerless, never again being a victim, never again trusting someone who would destroy her. It was exactly what every betrayed person wanted to hear. Agent Rodriguez stepped forward, but her movement was hesitant, unsure. "Mrs. Patterson, you don't have to listen to this. We can protect you." Dr. Ashworth's laugh was musical and terrifying. "Agent Rodriguez, your own partner has been reporting to our organization for 6 months. Your investigation was compromised from the beginning, your evidence gathering monitored and controlled, your prosecution strategy anticipated and countered. The revelation hit like a physical blow. The federal investigation hadn't been building a case against Daniel's network. It had been feeding information to the very organization they were trying to destroy." 60 seconds, Dr. Ashworth announced. Monica stood slowly, decision crystallizing in her mind with surprising clarity. She walked toward Dr. Ashworth, each step feeling like crossing a bridge that would burn behind her. "I'll give you my answer," Monica said, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was about to do. "But first, there's someone you need to meet." She reached into her purse, pulling out a device that looked like a phone, but was actually something much more sophisticated. "FBI Agent Sarah Rodriguez. Meet NSA Agent Monica Patterson, currently operating under deep cover to infiltrate and destroy your organization." The restaurant erupted into controlled chaos as NSA agents emerged from positions throughout the space. Waiters, guests, even the pianist had been federal operatives positioned for this exact moment. Dr. Ashworth's confident facade cracked for the first time as she realized the evening hadn't been Daniel's trap or Monica's revenge. It had been a carefully orchestrated federal sting operation designed to draw out the leadership of an international criminal organization. "The birthday dinner was never about my humiliation," Monica said, her voice carrying the authority of someone who'd been in control from the beginning. "It was about creating the exact circumstances that would force you to reveal yourself, your methods, and your network." Dr. Ashworth reached for something in her jacket, but NSA agents were faster. Within seconds, she was restrained and disarmed, her carefully constructed authority evaporating like morning mist. 3 years undercover, Monica explained to the stunned room. 3 years married to a monster, gathering evidence, building trust with victims, identifying the larger network that trained and protected predators like Daniel. The marriage had been a deep cover assignment from the beginning. Monica's background, her financial skills, her psychological training, all of it had made her perfect for infiltrating Daniel's organization while appearing to be nothing more than a vulnerable woman from Alabama. Every intimate moment was evidence gathering, Monica said, her voice carrying the weight of sacrifices the room couldn't fully understand. Every declaration of love was data collection. Every betrayal was another piece of evidence that would ultimately destroy this network. But as NSA agents led Dr. Ashworth away, she called back with a smile that promised this victory was temporary. "Impressive work, Agent Patterson. But you've only captured one cell of our organization. The real power is protected by people who make NSA agents disappear. Your new life will be very short." The threat hung in the air as Monica realized that bringing down Daniel and Dr. Ashworth was just the beginning of a war against an organization with resources and connections that extended far beyond anything they'd imagined. The birthday dinner had been a stage, the guests were actors, and Monica had just delivered the performance of her lifetime. But the real show was just beginning. The restaurant erupted into controlled chaos as agents emerged from everywhere. Waiters, guests, even the pianist had been federal operatives positioning for this exact moment. What appeared to be a birthday celebration had actually been the most sophisticated sting operation in NSA history. Operation Birthday Trap has been 18 months in planning, Monica announced to the stunned room, her voice carrying authority that transformed her from victim to federal agent in the minds of everyone present. Every element designed to draw out the leadership of an international criminal organization that's been operating with impunity for decades. The revelation recontextualized everything that had happened. Monica's marriage to Daniel, her apparent vulnerability, her public humiliation, all of it had been carefully constructed theater designed to make the criminal organization comfortable enough to reveal their true scope and leadership. Agent Patterson has been under deep cover for 3 years, Agent Rodriguez explained, though her own shock was evident. Even I didn't know her true identity until tonight. The compartmentalization was necessary to ensure operational security. Monica's NSA credentials checked out through secure federal systems, but the personal cost of the operation was written across her face. 3 years married to a predator, enduring intimate contact with someone whose touch she knew was manipulation, maintaining a performance that required betraying her own sense of truth and authenticity. Could you maintain a performance for months to protect others? What does courage look like when it requires betraying someone who betrayed you first? The wire recordings took on new significance as evidence gathered during the most sophisticated undercover operation in federal history. Monica's pillow talk with Daniel hadn't been a desperate attempt to gather evidence as a victim. It had been professional intelligence gathering by a trained operative who understood the psychological techniques necessary to make a narcissistic predator feel safe enough to confess. Every crime Daniel committed was documented in real time, Monica continued. Every victim he targeted was identified and protected before he could complete his operations. The network taught him to be systematic. We used that same systematic approach to dismantle their entire operation. The federal case wasn't just about Daniel's crimes. It was about an international network that had been training and deploying predators like him across multiple countries for decades. Banks in Switzerland, shell companies in Delaware, training facilities in the Caribbean, and recruitment operations throughout the United States. Dr. Ashworth wasn't just Daniel's mentor, Monica revealed. She's been running the organization's North American operations for 15 years, personally responsible for training over 200 operatives who destroyed thousands of families. The scope was staggering. An entire criminal enterprise built on the systematic psychological manipulation of vulnerable people with sophisticated methods for identifying targets, exploiting their emotional needs, and monetizing their destruction. The surveillance footage you saw tonight was real, Monica admitted. But it wasn't collected by criminals. It was gathered by federal agents documenting crimes in progress. Every intimate moment between Daniel and his victims, every manipulation technique, every exploitation method, all of it recorded as evidence for prosecution. The violation was still real, still devastating, but had been conducted by law enforcement building cases against predators rather than by predators creating leverage against victims. Monica's phone contained not threats from Dr. Ashworth's organization, but updates from NSA command about simultaneous operations occurring around the world. Safe houses being raided, assets being seized, operatives being arrested in coordinated strikes designed to prevent the network from adapting to the loss of their North American leadership. 23 countries, 47 arrests, over $300 million in seized assets. Monica read from her secure communications device. The network Dr. Ashworth built is being systematically destroyed tonight. But the operation's success came with personal costs that would take years to fully understand. Monica had lived as someone else for 3 years, enduring psychological and physical intimacy with a monster, maintaining relationships built on lies, sacrificing her own sense of identity for the greater good of stopping a criminal organization. The hardest part wasn't the fear or the danger, Monica admitted to the room. It was maintaining humanity while surrounded by people who treated human suffering as a business opportunity. Daniel, Dr. Ashworth, their entire network, they're not just criminals. They're parasites who feed on human emotional needs. The evening had one final surprise as Monica's mother entered the restaurant. Her medical condition revealed to be part of the elaborate cover story that made Monica's financial desperation believable to Daniel's organization. Mrs. Davis has been in protective custody for 18 months, Agent Rodriguez explained. Her medical treatments were real, but they were provided by federal medical facilities while she assisted with her daughter's undercover operation. The reunion was emotional but brief. Monica's mother understanding that her daughter's work was far from over, that the arrest of Daniel and Dr. Ashworth was just the beginning of prosecutions that would take years to complete. There's something else, Monica announced as federal agents prepare to transport their prisoners. Daniel isn't the only operative who's been under surveillance. Every member of his network, every victim he targeted, every business associate who enabled his crimes, they're all part of a comprehensive investigation that's been building evidence for prosecution. Marcus stepped forward, revealing his own federal credentials. Financial Crimes Investigation Specialist, assigned to document money laundering operations connected to the psychological manipulation network. My wife's death wasn't just personal tragedy. It was the catalyst that led to federal involvement in exposing this organization. The evening had been carefully orchestrated to create the exact circumstances that would force the criminal network to expose themselves. Every element, from the guest list to the restaurant choice to the timing of revelations, had been calculated to make Dr. Ashworth confident enough to reveal her true role and authority. But as federal agents led Dr. Ashworth toward the exit, she managed one final statement that chilled everyone in the room. "You think this ends it? There are people who make NSA agents disappear, resources that make federal protection meaningless. Agent Patterson's new life will be very, very short." The threat was delivered with the calm certainty of someone who understood that the organization's true power lay not in the operatives who'd been captured, but in the infrastructure and protection that allowed them to operate with impunity for decades. Monica's assignment was far from over. Bringing down Daniel and Dr. Ashworth was just the first phase of an investigation that would ultimately target political figures, law enforcement officials, and business leaders who had enabled and protected the criminal network. The birthday dinner that began with betrayal had ended with justice, but it had also exposed Monica to dangers that would follow her for the rest of her life. 6 months later, Monica sat in a different restaurant, this one overlooking Savannah's historic district. But the woman she'd become was unrecognizable from the one who'd been betrayed. Spanish moss drifted past the windows like ghosts of the past as Monica worked on her laptop, helping other women escape situations she once couldn't imagine surviving. The NSA had given her a new identity, a new life, and the resources to build something meaningful from the wreckage of her undercover operation. The Ashworth Foundation for Survivor Support occupied 3 floors of a renovated mansion in Savannah's historic district, providing comprehensive services for women recovering from psychological manipulation and financial abuse. Monica's experience, both real and performed, had given her unique insights into the recovery process. Healing isn't linear, she told the support group meeting in the Foundation's main conference room. Some days you'll feel strong, empowered, ready to take on the world. Other days, you'll question every decision you've made, wonder if you'll ever be able to trust your own judgment again. The women in the room represented various stages of recovery. Sarah from Atlanta, rebuilding her life after Daniel's financial crimes. Jennifer from Marietta, working through the trauma of recorded intimate moments. Rebecca from Alpharetta, learning to trust her instincts after years of manipulation. The beautiful thing about surviving, Monica continued, is that it gives you strength you never knew you had. Not just to rebuild your own life, but to help other women avoid the same traps. Her therapy sessions were informed by both professional training and personal experience, understanding manipulation techniques from the inside, how they worked, why they were effective, how victims could recognize and resist them in the future. How do you rebuild trust after betrayal? What does healthy love look like after surviving manipulation? Share your journey to healing. The Foundation's work extended beyond individual therapy to systemic change. Monica testified before Congress about psychological manipulation techniques, consulted with law enforcement agencies about identifying and prosecuting financial crimes, and worked with international organizations to develop better protections for vulnerable adults. Dr. Ashworth's network trained predators to exploit specific psychological vulnerabilities. Monica explained to a Senate subcommittee via secure video conference. Understanding their methods is crucial to developing effective prevention and intervention strategies. The congressional testimony was part of Monica's ongoing NSA assignment. Even in her new life, she remained an active agent, using her expertise to identify and dismantle similar criminal organizations around the world. Her personal relationships were complicated by the requirements of her assignment. Friends who knew her as the wife of a criminal, family members who believed her cover story, romantic prospects who couldn't understand the security clearances and protective protocols that govern her daily life. The hardest part of recovery, she told her therapist during their weekly session, is learning to be authentic again after years of performance. I spent so long being someone else that I'm not sure who I really am underneath all the training and operational necessity. The NSA provided comprehensive psychological support for agents recovering from deep cover assignments, but Monica's situation was unique. 3 years of intimate contact with a predator, maintaining emotional compartmentalization while gathering evidence, performing love while experiencing violation. The psychological cost was unprecedented. Your first honest, intimate encounter, her therapist noted, will be a significant milestone in your recovery process. Learning to be vulnerable again without it being an operational necessity. Monica's new partner was Dr. James Chun, a fellow survivor advocate who understood the complexities of recovery from systematic manipulation. Their relationship developed slowly, built on mutual respect and shared mission rather than the intense chemistry that had characterized her performed marriage to Daniel. He sees my strength before my vulnerability, Monica told her support group. Respects my boundaries without making me feel like damaged goods. That's what healthy love looks like. Partnership without possession, support without control. Their intimacy was careful, consensual, focused on emotional connection rather than physical performance. Every touch asked permission. Every kiss was offered rather than taken. Every moment of vulnerability was honored rather than exploited. Is this okay? James whispered during their first intimate encounter, his hands tracing the scars that Daniel's manipulation had left on her psyche, if not her body. Are you sure you want this? Yes, Monica breathed, surprised by how much she meant it. I want this for me, not for any operation or performance or evidence gathering, just for me. The foundation's success was measured not just in individual recoveries, but in systemic changes that made communities safer for vulnerable adults. Educational programs in schools, training for law enforcement officers, public awareness campaigns about manipulation techniques. 1 year ago, I thought my life was over, Monica told the audience at the Foundation's first anniversary gala. Betrayed by someone I trusted, humiliated in front of everyone I knew, facing financial ruin and emotional devastation. Tonight, I'm surrounded by women who've not just survived similar experiences, they've thrived. The gala raised over $2 million for survivor support services, with donations from federal agencies, private foundations, and individuals who understood that preventing psychological manipulation required comprehensive community support. But Monica's work was far from finished. Dr. Ashworth's network had been damaged, but not destroyed, with cells operating in countries where American law enforcement had limited jurisdiction. We've identified operations in Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, and South America, Monica reported to her NSA handler during their monthly briefing. The psychological manipulation techniques are being adapted for different cultural contexts, but the core methodology remains consistent. Her phone buzzed with a secure message that made her blood run cold. Agent Patterson, we've intercepted communications suggesting Dr. Ashworth's organization is planning retaliation against Foundation staff and program participants. Enhanced security protocols are now in effect. The threat was always present. The knowledge that her work made her a target for an organization with international resources and connections. But Monica had learned that living in fear was just another form of victimization. Freedom isn't the absence of danger, she told her support group. It's the choice to live authentically despite the risks, to build something meaningful even when powerful people want to destroy it. 6 months after the birthday dinner that changed everything, Monica had transformed from victim to advocate, from cover identity to authentic self, from isolated survivor to community leader. But her phone was ringing with a call from NSA headquarters that would once again change everything. Agent Patterson, we've received intelligence about Dr. Ashworth's replacement. The new leadership is planning something that makes their previous operations look like practice runs. We need you back in the field. The woman visiting Daniel in prison looked exactly like Kayla, because she was Kayla's twin sister and she'd been the mentor's backup plan all along. The Savannah safe house felt like a fishbowl as Monica realized she'd been watched and hunted even in her carefully protected new life. Dr. Ashworth's organization hadn't been destroyed. It had been evolving, adapting, preparing for the next phase of operations with leadership that understood exactly how federal law enforcement operated. Catherine Walsh, Agent Rodriguez said, showing Monica surveillance photos from the federal prison where Daniel was being held. Kayla's identical twin sister, presumed dead in a car accident 5 years ago. Except the body was never positively identified. The photographs were disturbing in their implications. Catherine looked exactly like Kayla, but her expressions carried a coldness that was completely different from her sister's vulnerability. Where Kayla had been manipulated and victimized, Catherine appeared to be calculating and predatory. She's been visiting Daniel twice a week for 3 months, Rodriguez continued. Prison records show visits from Kayla Walsh, but Kayla has been in protective custody in a completely different state. Someone with high-level clearance has been falsifying visitor logs. The infiltration of federal security systems was more sophisticated than anyone had anticipated. Catherine hadn't just assumed her sister's identity. She'd accessed classified information about protective custody arrangements, witness security protocols, and NSA operational details. How do you find peace when danger might always be lurking? What does true safety mean when trust has been shattered? Monica studied the surveillance footage, looking for details that might reveal Catherine's true intentions. The visits weren't just social. She was clearly receiving detailed information from Daniel about the federal investigation, witness locations, and operational security measures. Prison conversations are recorded, Rodriguez noted, but Catherine has been using sign language to communicate with Daniel. She's deaf, which explains why there's no audio intelligence from their meetings. The communication method revealed sophisticated planning. Catherine's deafness wasn't a disability. It was an operational advantage that allowed her to exchange information without leaving electronic evidence that could be intercepted by federal monitoring systems. The real question, Monica said, studying Catherine's body language in the prison footage, is whether she's working independently or as part of a larger operation to rebuild Dr. Ashworth's network. Her NSA training in behavioral analysis suggested the latter. Catherine's movements were too controlled, her infiltration too sophisticated, her timing too precise to be a spontaneous revenge operation by a grieving sister. We've identified financial transfers, Rodriguez revealed, showing banking records on her secure tablet. Large sums moving through cryptocurrency exchanges, just like Dr. Ashworth's previous operations. Catherine isn't just visiting Daniel, she's funding something. The money trail led through the same shell companies and offshore accounts that have been used by the criminal network. But instead of being seized by federal authorities, these accounts have been activated by someone with intimate knowledge of their operational security. She's rebuilding the network, Monica realized, using Daniel's information about federal investigative techniques to create better operational security, more sophisticated recruitment methods, improved victim identification systems. The threat was evolving. Instead of crude psychological manipulation, Catherine was developing scientific approaches to emotional exploitation, using federal behavioral research to make manipulation techniques more effective and harder to detect. Monica's phone buzzed with an encrypted message from an unknown number. "Sister, sister, burning bright in the forests of the night. What a mortal hand, or I could frame thy fearful symmetry. Your protection ends tonight." The poetry was disturbing. Blake's tiger, adapted to reference the twin-sister dynamic and suggest imminent violence. Catherine wasn't just threatening Monica. She was demonstrating intellectual sophistication that made her more dangerous than simple revenge seekers. Enhanced security protocols aren't enough, Monica told her NSA handler during an emergency briefing. Catherine has access to classified information about witness protection, safe house locations, and operational personnel. She's not just hunting me. She's hunting everyone connected to the investigation. The Foundation staff, the support group participants, even federal agents involved in the operation. All of them were potential targets for an organization that treated murder as just another business expense. "We're evacuating all personnel connected to the investigation," her handler announced. "New identities, new locations, complete operational reset." Catherine Walsh represents a threat level we haven't seen before. But Monica had learned that running from sophisticated predators only delayed confrontation. It didn't prevent it. Catherine would continue hunting until she either succeeded or was stopped permanently. "I have a different idea," Monica said, her voice carrying the authority of someone who'd survived 3 years undercover with international criminals. "Instead of running, we draw her out. Use her obsession with revenge to make her expose herself and whatever network she's building." The plan was dangerous but logical. Catherine's need to personally confront Monica would override her operational security, creating opportunities for federal agents to capture her and dismantle whatever organization she was constructing. "What kind of bait would draw her out?" Rodriguez asked. "The same thing that drew out Dr. Ashworth," Monica replied. "A public appearance where she thinks she can humiliate me, expose me, destroy everything I've built since the investigation ended." The Foundation's anniversary gala had been successful, but had also made Monica visible to enemies who'd been searching for her location. Catherine's surveillance operation had been tracking Foundation activities, identifying staff and participants, mapping security arrangements. "She'll try to turn the Foundation's work against me," Monica predicted. "Expose my NSA identity to the support group participants, reveal the deception involved in my relationship with Daniel, destroy the trust that makes the Foundation's therapy work effective." The psychological warfare would be sophisticated, using Monica's own recovery techniques against her, exploiting the trust relationships that formed the foundation of survivor support work. But as federal agents prepared to evacuate the safe house, Monica received a call that changed everything. Catherine wasn't just planning to expose her. She was planning something much more direct and deadly. "Monica!" Kayla's voice came through the secure phone line, shaking with terror. "She has me. Catherine has me, and she wants to trade. Your life for mine. Tomorrow night at the place where it all started." The call ended before Monica could respond, but the location was clear: the Atlanta rooftop restaurant where Daniel had tried to destroy her life, where Dr. Ashworth had tried to recruit her, where everything had begun. Catherine wasn't just seeking revenge. She was demanding completion, a final confrontation that would either destroy Monica or end the threat to her new criminal network permanently. As federal agents mobilized for another sophisticated operation, Monica realized she'd made a choice that surprised everyone, including herself. Instead of hiding, she was walking out to face Catherine directly. "Where are you going?" Rodriguez demanded. "To end this," Monica replied. "One way or another." 1 year after the birthday that destroyed her old life, Monica threw herself a new kind of party. One where the guest list included every woman Daniel had victimized, and the celebration was their collective freedom. The Atlanta rooftop restaurant, the same one where her nightmare began, now hosted a celebration of survival, with the same skyline witnessing rebirth instead of destruction. But tonight's gathering wasn't just about recovery. It was about drawing Catherine Walsh into a trap that would end her threat permanently. What would your celebration of survival look like? How do you honor the journey from victim to victor? Share what freedom means to you. Monica stood at the same table where Daniel had placed the baby carrier that changed everything. But now she faced the room with the confidence of someone who'd survived the worst betrayal and emerged stronger. The guests weren't just friends and family. They were federal agents, survivor advocates, and women whose lives had been shaped by the same criminal network. 1 year ago, I thought my world was ending, Monica told the assembled crowd. Tonight, I want to share what I've learned about the difference between surviving and thriving, between justice and revenge, between the life you lose and the life you choose to build. The Foundation's work was represented by women at various stages of recovery. Sarah had completed her financial reconstruction and was training as a forensic accountant to help other victims. Jennifer was pursuing a doctorate in psychology with a focus on manipulation recovery. Rebecca had started her own nonprofit focused on protecting children from the aftermath of financial crimes. The most powerful revenge isn't getting even, Monica continued. It's getting better. It's building something meaningful from the wreckage, creating value from the violation, transforming pain into purpose. But the celebration was also carefully constructed bait for Catherine Walsh, who'd been tracking Monica's movements and would be unable to resist the opportunity for a dramatic confrontation in the location where her network's downfall had begun. Marcus approached the microphone, his partnership with Monica having evolved into something deeper than shared trauma. Their relationship was built on mutual respect, shared mission, and the understanding that love after betrayal required patience and intentionality. Monica taught me that healing isn't about forgetting what happened, Marcus said, his voice carrying across the room. It's about choosing what happens next. Amanda's death wasn't the end of our story. It was the beginning of our mission to protect other families. Their intimacy had developed slowly, carefully, with every boundary respected and every vulnerability honored. When they made love, it was celebration rather than transaction, connection rather than conquest, choice rather than manipulation. Is this what you want? Marcus whispered during their first complete intimate encounter, his hands tracing her skin with reverence that recognized her strength rather than exploiting her vulnerability. Tell me what you need. I need you to see me as I am now, Monica replied. Not as who I was when I was broken, not as who I was when I was performing. Just me, choosing this, choosing you, choosing us. The Foundation's anniversary wasn't just about individual recovery. It was about systemic change that made communities safer for vulnerable adults. Educational programs, law enforcement training, public awareness campaigns that prevented manipulation before it could destroy lives. If this story of betrayal, justice, and redemption touched your heart, Monica told the room, remember that every ending is someone's beginning. Every survivor who speaks truth gives permission for another victim to find their voice. But the evening's real purpose became clear as Catherine Walsh entered the restaurant, moving with the predatory confidence of someone who believed she controlled the situation. She looked exactly like her sister Kayla, but carried herself with an authority that was completely different from victim to predator. Hello, Monica, Catherine said, her voice carrying the cultured accent of expensive education and sophisticated manipulation training. Thank you for making this so convenient. I was wondering how to draw you out of federal protection. The restaurant security was carefully positioned, but not obvious. Federal agents disguised as waitstaff, NSA operatives posing as Foundation supporters, local law enforcement providing perimeter control. Catherine's entrance had been anticipated and prepared for. You rebuilt my sister's life, Catherine continued, but you destroyed something much more valuable. Dr. Ashworth's network represented decades of careful development, sophisticated operational security, and profitable criminal enterprise. Her assessment was clinical, treating human destruction as simply business disruption rather than justice served. I'm here to make you an offer, Catherine said, reaching into her designer purse. Complete Dr. Ashworth's recruitment. Join our organization voluntarily, and your Foundation's work continues. Refuse, and everyone in this room dies tonight. The threat was delivered with the same calm professionalism that Dr. Ashworth had used, but Catherine's plan was more direct. Violence rather than manipulation, elimination rather than recruitment. "You made one mistake," Monica replied, her voice steady despite the danger surrounding everyone she cared about. "You assumed I was still the woman who needed federal protection, still someone who could be threatened into compliance." She pressed a button on her phone, and the restaurant's lights dimmed as video screens throughout the space displayed surveillance footage of Catherine's criminal activities. Prison visits with Daniel, financial transfers through shell companies, even recordings of her planning violence against federal witnesses. Operation Birthday Redemption has been documenting your activities for 3 months, Monica announced. Every crime, every threat, every plan for rebuilding Dr. Ashworth's network, all recorded as evidence for your prosecution. Catherine's confidence flickered as she realized the anniversary celebration was actually another federal sting operation, designed to draw her out and capture her attempts to rebuild the criminal organization. "You're too smart for your own good," Catherine said, reaching deeper into her purse. But intelligence doesn't stop bullets. The weapon appeared in her hand with practiced efficiency, but Catherine hadn't anticipated the level of federal protection surrounding the event. Before she could aim, NSA agents had her restrained and disarmed. "Catherine Walsh, you're under arrest for conspiracy, money laundering, terroristic threats, and conspiracy to commit murder," Agent Rodriguez announced as handcuffs clicked into place. But Catherine's smile remained confident even in restraint. "You think this ends it? There are people who make NSA agents disappear, resources that make federal protection meaningless. The network is bigger than you know." Monica stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried to every corner of the restaurant. "The network you're talking about? We've been tracking them for 2 years. Every cell, every operative, every financial connection. Tonight's operation wasn't just about capturing you. It was about identifying the entire international organization." The evening had been carefully constructed to force Catherine to reveal her connections, communication methods, and operational security. Every phone call, every financial transfer, every attempt to coordinate with other network members had been monitored and traced. Dr. Ashworth's arrest was just the beginning, Monica continued. "Tonight's operation completes the destruction of an international criminal enterprise that's operated with impunity for decades. The Foundation's anniversary had become the final chapter in the most sophisticated counterintelligence operation in NSA history. Not just stopping individual predators, but dismantling the entire infrastructure that trained and protected them." As Catherine was led away, Monica realized that her journey from victim to survivor to advocate was complete. The birthday dinner that began with betrayal had ended with justice, but more importantly, it had created something meaningful from the wreckage. "Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even," Monica told the room as federal agents concluded their operations. "It's getting better, building something that lasts, creating value from violation, transforming pain into purpose." The Foundation would continue its work, helping other survivors transform their experiences into strength, their trauma into advocacy, their pain into purpose. The criminal network that had destroyed so many lives was finally ended, but the healing work would continue for years. Monica's new life was built on authenticity rather than performance, connection rather than manipulation, choice rather than coercion. She'd learned that love after betrayal required courage, that trust after violation required patience, and that healing after trauma required community. If you've survived betrayal, manipulation, or abuse, Monica concluded, remember that your story isn't over. Every day you choose to heal, every moment you decide to trust again, every time you use your experience to help someone else, that's victory. That's redemption. That's how we transform the worst things that happen to us into the best things we can offer the world. The applause that filled the restaurant wasn't just celebration, it was recognition. Recognition that survival isn't just about enduring trauma, but about choosing what to build from the pieces. Recognition that justice isn't just about punishment, but about prevention. Recognition that healing isn't just individual, it's collective. Monica looked around the room at faces that represented every stage of recovery, every type of strength, every form of courage. Sarah building new financial security through helping other victims. Jennifer transforming her trauma into expertise that would protect future victims. Rebecca creating safety nets for children affected by family destruction. Marcus approached the microphone one final time, his voice carrying the weight of personal loss transformed into shared purpose. 3 years ago, I lost my wife to a predator who taught her to hate herself more than she loved our family. Tonight, I'm standing beside a woman who taught me that love after loss is possible, that trust after betrayal can be rebuilt, that partnership after devastation can be even stronger than what came before. Their relationship had become the foundation's most powerful example of healthy love after trauma, built on respect rather than rescue, partnership rather than possession, choice rather than coercion. We're engaged, Monica announced, showing the ring Marcus had chosen. Simple, elegant, representing commitment without conquest. Not because either of us needs saving, but because we choose to build something together that neither of us could create alone. The celebration continued as guests shared their own stories of recovery, their own examples of transformation, their own evidence that survival was possible and thriving was achievable. But Monica's work was far from finished. The foundation would expand its services, the NSA would continue tracking international criminal networks, and survivors would keep transforming their experiences into advocacy that protected others. What would you do if someone saw your worth before you believed in it yourself? Monica asked the room one final time. Would you run from that recognition? Or would you build something lasting from the strength you never knew you had? The birthday dinner that had begun with betrayal and destruction had ended with community and purpose. The woman who'd been publicly humiliated at 35 was now using that experience to ensure other women would never face the same isolation and vulnerability. Hit that like button if this story reminded you that survival is possible, Monica said, addressing the cameras that would share this story with people around the world who needed to hear it. Subscribe for more stories that prove the strongest people aren't those who never get knocked down. They're the ones who get back up and help others do the same. Tell me in the comments what aspect of this journey resonated most with you. Share what your own redemption story looks like, or what you're still working to overcome. And remember, the most powerful love doesn't rescue you from your life. It recognizes the strength that's been there all along, honors the journey that brought you to this moment, and chooses to build something beautiful from whatever remains. The Atlanta skyline glittered beyond the restaurant windows, the same view that had witnessed destruction now bearing witness to reconstruction. The birthday that had marked the end of one life had become the anniversary of another, one built on truth instead of lies, strength instead of vulnerability, purpose instead of performance. Monica's story was complete, but the work would continue. Other women would face betrayal, other families would confront destruction, other survivors would need examples of how to transform trauma into triumph. The foundation would be there, the community would be there, the proof that recovery was possible would be there. And sometimes that's enough to save a life. Sometimes that's enough to change the world. Sometimes that's enough to prove that the birthday, which seemed like an ending, was actually the beginning of everything that mattered. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories that make you feel, think, and maybe even heal a little. Tell me in the comments what aspect of Monica's journey resonated most with you. Was it her courage in the face of betrayal, her strength in rebuilding after devastation, or her choice to use her pain to protect others? And remember, every ending is someone's beginning. Every survivor who shares their truth gives permission for another victim to find their voice. The most powerful revenge isn't getting even. It's getting better, building something meaningful from the wreckage, and proving that no matter how broken we become, we can always choose what to build from the pieces.